Welcome back to Any Recapped. Today we will show you the series, Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World. Hope you enjoy the video. Mikio, a 17-year-old boy, begins playing a cheap online game he believes is virtual reality. In the game, the village is attacked by bandits and he sees the bandit leader wearing a special bandana. Mikio thinks it will be useful for him. He kills several of them with his sword Durendal, thinking it is just a game. Somara, the village chief, rewards him with the bandits' equipment, but all of it turns out to be fake. The village chief assures him that he will find the real culprit. When Mikio attempts to log out of the game, he realizes the world around him was real, and he must complete the game beforehand, and the people he killed were real, not just characters. A villager attempts to steal Mikio's captured loot and is sentenced to slavery by the village chief. It turns out he had kept the real bandana, which was returned to Mikio. Then the village chief asks what punishment he shall give to the bandit. Mikio suggests the village must have their own rules and he does not intend to dispute them. The intelligence card shows a person's social status in the village. The thief's card is changed, making him known as a slave. The chief hands Mikio bandits intelligence cards as bounties. Mikio travels to the city of Vale by the help of a cart, enjoying food, and finds a place to stay. Reaching his room, Mikio attempts to log out of the game, several times lying on his back. After many tries, he fails. The realization hits him that he might be stuck in this game with no return to the real world. The fact that he killed real people and not characters of a game makes him feel guilty. In the city of Vale, the next morning, when Mikio is barely able to get any sleep, he wakes up and collects the bounty, then visits Alan, a slave trader, who purchases the thief and reveals a new labyrinth that has been discovered nearby. As Mikio is intrigued by the labyrinth, Alan suggests purchasing a slave, in particular, a slave named Roxanne. Since she is a beast woman, she is useful in combat and is also a guaranteed virgin in case he wants to get intimate with her. Despite feeling guilty over considering it, Mikio is interested by the opportunity of an obedient slave. Thanks to Alan's smooth sales talk, he impulsively agrees to return in 5 days with almost 450,000 gold needed to purchase Roxanne. The flash forward at the beginning shows Mikio, with his fully formed harem, visiting the village where he was first summoned. He meets a kid, Mio, planting Cupiko, who has a striking resemblance to himself. Mikio thinks Mio is the consequence of him making love to another slave. He gives a sword to Mio to protect his mother when Mio explains he only has a single parent and his father died a long time ago. Mikio is still short on the amount of money to buy Roxanne and he meets up with Alan. He advises that explorers can get a great source of income from labyrinths if they are confident in their abilities. But it's difficult to earn a large sum of money over a short period of time. Mikio suggests collecting bounties would be much quicker. Alan agrees but does not recommend it, as Mikio would be targeted by bandits if he becomes a bandit hunter that collects bounties. Mikio buys a new sword to increase his abilities and encounters his first labyrinth. He fights tree-type needlewood monsters by slashing them and succeeds just after a one hit, while also realizing negative thoughts make him slower, and it's the effect caused by the labyrinth. He collects the branches of defeated needlewood and sells them. The amount he earns still falls short for him to purchase Roxanne. He goes back to the labyrinth and his eyes fall upon a secret door, revealing it to be a den of monsters. His MP decreases, making him weak when using the overwhelming spell to slow down his enemy, but he continues to fight more monsters until all of them are defeated, and he collects the remaining branches for exchanging them for money. A bandit's corpse lies in the West Val village and all the villagers gossip about it. Mikio worries if these were the surviving bandits that attacked the village. He's probably the person the gang wants their revenge from. But Mikio assumes it might not be the case, and they might be seeking revenge on whoever made them leave town in the first place, in other words, their rival organization. Mikio learns that there is no other way to get closer to Roxanne without adjusting to new methods. He settles upon becoming a bandit hunter, knowing it is a risk of his life. Mikio understands that he will not be able to defeat bandits by delusion like last time, and he has to upgrade his powers since he only has 3 days left to buy Roxanne. He goes out to the village and starts searching for bandits for him to hunt down, but has no luck as everyone is either a villager or adventurer. He thinks back where a cart driver told him not to enter places like slums as they are dark and dangerous. Mikio uses a teleportation spell and goes to the slums. The sight of the place was dirty and smelled terrible. He goes back to his village to wash himself as the previous place reeked of bad odor. Mikio learns that he is more powerful than before as his MP increases whenever he fights in the labyrinth. He'll be able to handle bandits and fight them. He spends the night in the village looking for any sign of bandits and reaches the red light district. He finally sees a bald man who identifies as a bandit and follows him to his territory. He teleports closer to where all the bandits are and sneakily hear what they are talking about. The bandits talk about their leader Hugo, who was killed, and now they fight against each other to fit the role of the leader next. Mikio decides to talk to the bandit individually to be able to hunt them all. He goes back to his room and the owner suggests he should eat. Mikio takes the opportunity to ask the owner for more information about the bandit gang. The next day, Mikio is not able to sleep well and wakes up early. He takes the red bandana he got from the thieves' leader and heads towards the bandit to talk to him. The man thinks Mikio is suspicious, but he lets him into his room where he has the money to buy the bandana from Mikio. Right after, he attacks Mikio, but he is able to dodge it. Mikio realizes the bandit only wanted the bandana to become the leader and burns it. As the place goes dark, Mikio kills the bandit and slices off his hand to collect his intelligence card, and he does the same with 3 more thieves without creating any sound. Still, some of the bandits wake up and they intend to check what is going on inside. Mikio quickly teleports to the labyrinth as he cannot collect more than 3 cards. He kills the monsters to regain powers in order to teleport back. Mikio believes he has not done anything wrong as there are no police or laws that can arrest him for his doings, and it is normal to earn money this way. The next day, Mikio goes to the night to collect his bounty and meets Alan to purchase Roxanne with the money he made. At last, Alan seals a contract of a master and slave between the two. With his extra money, Mikio is able to afford a larger room. Roxanne is noticeably nervous, and Mikio realizes he mistakenly got a room with a double bed, compared to 2 single beds, and is afraid the thought of sharing a bed scares her. He asks Roxanne to sit next to him, and he caresses her wolf ears and reassures as well as sharing his bed. He mostly wants her to accompany him into the labyrinth as a fighter, which Roxanne is serious about. Mikio lends Roxanne his sandals when he sees her barefoot, and the shoes magically fit into her size. She thanks her master, and they go out in town together to get her a uniform and equipment. Roxanne's eyes fall upon various shields that can help her in combat, but she's unsure to choose between them. She carefully examines and asks Mikio a couple of times to help her. He identifies the shields and chooses the suitable one for Roxanne. He seems concerned when Roxanne tells him she does not have more clothes aside from what she is wearing. He buys her new clothes and they return to their room. Roxanne proves adept at repairing and maintaining equipment, but they both grow more nervous as night approaches. Mikio is unable to stop himself from looking at and touching Roxanne's body, but feels incredibly guilty for it. Despite the awkwardness, they manage to wash each other's backs, Roxanne's tail, and shampoo each other's hair. Finally, they get into bed together, and while trying to make sure Roxanne enjoys herself as much as he does, they make love. The next morning, Roxanne kisses him, but Mikio suspects she only did so because he asked her to before they fell asleep. Regardless, Mikio decides to begin their first trip into the labyrinth. Mikio asks Roxanne how to add skills to his equipment and is told he must locate a rare monster skill crystal and have a blacksmith bonded to the equipment. Unfortunately, only dwarves have the blacksmith ability and they are often untrustworthy. While Roxanne changes into a leather armor Mikio hands her, it is unable to fit her upper body in an appropriate way. Mikio thinks it is too much, and she wears a jacket instead. Mikio and Roxanne make their way towards the labyrinth, but Roxanne notices they are going the wrong way. Mikio takes Roxanne using his teleportation skill and opens a portal, making them reach the first floor of the labyrinth in no time. A confused Roxanne asks Mikio how he is able to transport, and he explains his secret. She is surprised and compliments him on his ability to teleport. Roxanne is able to detect the scent of monsters as she is a wolfkin and believes it can detect prey. They lead their way through, and inside the labyrinth, Mikio learns that magic crystals can be filled with monster magic and sold for incredible sums, but can take months to accomplish. They can be found in labyrinths or by purchasing empty ones from guilds. A needlewood monster stands in the way, and Mikio slashes it in one blow, impressing Roxanne. Mikio gives the credit to his sword, Durendal, for being the powerful weapon. Roxanne's tail wags, indicating she is happy, and they are able to defeat monsters because of Master Mikio. Back in their room, the two of them share a sweet moment, and Roxanne's question to Mikio reminds him if he will be able to go back to his homeland. He settles upon not going back, not because he wants to, but he cannot go back, and he plans to keep Roxanne with him forever, which makes the wolfkin relieved. Purchasing 2 empty crystals, Mikio learns they can hold magic from 1 million monsters, but most people sell them after 100,000. He also learns labyrinths are alive and grow upwards, so the first floor is actually the lowest, while the strongest monsters are on the top floors. Mikio decides he needs spells that attack multiple targets, as they also require healing spells. Both Mikio and Roxanne gain the title of monk by defeating a monster with their bare hands. That night, they repeat their ritual of bathing each other before making love. The next day, they locate the room of the first floor boss monster and head inside to defeat it. Mikio and Roxanne stand behind a room in the labyrinth, and the energy feels seemingly off around it. Roxanne explains it is a waiting room because of the final boss of the first floor waiting on the other side. Only one party can enter the boss room at a time, and if two parties appear, the boss does not show up and the door remains closed. When the door finally opens, it reveals to be a small, normal-looking room. The first floor boss, Udwood, shows up and Mikio and Roxanne prepare to combat. After defeating the tree-type boss, Roxanne picks up a medicinal leaf drop and gains the title of an herbalist, but she cannot use the power as she does not know the proper incantations for the spell. For defeating the boss, they are granted access to the second floor, but Mikio also desires the herbalist title, so they return to the first floor to fight the boss again and also comes in contact with caterpillar monsters which trap Mikio in their threads. He breaks free and Roxanne apologizes for not helping her master in time. With the herbalist title, Mikio is able to use the medicinal leaf to create health potions. Returning to the city, Mikio notices a bandit watching Alan's trading house by the help of Roxanne secretly asking her to keep an eye on him, and she looks worried knowing he does not seem like a customer. They both reach Alan and warn him about the bandit, but he does not take Mikio seriously. Alan explains he recently sold the thief that Mikio had sold to him, but he was bought by dangerous-looking men suspecting the thief was actually a bandit the whole time, and the men who bought him were members of his gang. As the thief is still in the trading house, Alan suspects he was told to wait until everyone was asleep and unlock the door to let the bandits inside. As Roxanne has fond memories of Alan's other servants, particularly an older woman as she received a lot of care from her as a slave, Mikio requests to be hired as a bodyguard because he would be displeased to know the thief he sold to Alan did him dirty. Roxanne thanks his master and Alan decides to hire Mikio and is willing to pay him 1,000 nars for any equipment or intelligent cards dropped by the bandits he defeats will be considered his. Roxanne feels guilty as she told Alan about the lookout being a bandit, but Mikio assures her that it was his choice to be recruited as a bodyguard. After spending the evening in bed, Roxanne and Mikio return to the trading house at night and join Alan's combat slaves to ambush the bandits. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for part 2. You've been fantastic.